All right. Hello. So today I'm washing my dishes while I'm recording this video, and there's actually a reason for that. I was meditating just now, and I figured that would be a good moment to actually talk about meditation. Now, what's meditation to begin with? Right. Meditation is essentially a state of mind where you can clear your mind, process your thoughts, and you'll have some traditional ways of meditating where, or more, I would rather say more commonly known as, you sit in perfect silence and you push away any thought and that's great if you're sort of a master at it and you've got a lot of experience. The problem is for anyone starting. Harry, sorry about that. My dog was barking. The problem is that for anyone starting meditation, this is a very aggressive way of trying to meditate. And I tried it, didn't work for me whatsoever. I cannot focus when I do that. It's exhausting. It really is. Trying to think about nothing and clear your mind, it's unnatural, really. Anyway, what I found is something that I've always been doing is just clearing my mind as I'm doing something else. So, for example, just now I was washing the dishes. There was a little bit of music playing, but music playing isn't enough to really focus my mind. I could have watched some videos or some stream or something like that, and I just wasn't really in the mood. So I thought, I'll just do it with the music and not really focus my mind on anything. And then what happens is this natural process where the mind just starts to wander, and you have your train of thought and everything. And at first, it's a little bit difficult. The first 2 to 5 minutes, maybe even 10, you're bored. You're like, ugh, this sucks. But that's part of it. You have to go through that initial kind of being bored moment. But that's the thing. If the brain is bored, that means the brain has room to focus, to process, to you can process your feelings, you can process all kinds of thoughts that you just never really had the time to, because your mind is always busy with everything. It trains your patience. I'm gonna make another video on patience as well. That's a big subject. And it clears the mind, process your feelings that were stuck in there. And it is a form of meditation. Just because you're actually doing something doesn't mean that you can't meditate, doesn't mean that you can't process your thoughts. This is something. I'm washing dishes right now, and it's really basic. It's I don't need to think about it. My hands are moving, and right now my thoughts are focused on what I'm talking about. So that's the proof right there. You can multitask certain things like that, and whenever you have if you're good enough to talk, then you're good enough to meditate, always. So what's the key here? If you want to do this sort of meditate, I would call it, I don't know, I know there's an actual term for it, but I would call it multitask meditation. 'Cause I do it when I walk to do the groceries. Like one of the big thing that I do for that one is when I do the groceries, I go on foot. It's like a 20-minute walk, and I have like a little like a cart. I think it's called a utility wagon. Not sure. But yeah, like my kind of like my personal cart. So I do my groceries and then I walk back with all the groceries in the cart. And during that time, I am listening to music. I have my headphones, these headphones, and I'm listening to music, and like it's enough to mildly engage the brain. I'm not looking at my phone while I do that. I'm not busy watching videos or whatever. I'm not watching a stream. So just music. So it's enough to mildly engage the brain, but not enough to fully engage the brain, and it leaves room for meditation. And same thing that I was doing just now, like before starting recording the video. And so yeah, it's something that I do when I do my groceries, something that I do when I wash my dishes. There's a few tasks like that. If I do the laundry, then I have to, walk around, and actually like that takes more brain power than just washing the dishes. And what I find is every time that I do that, I have like these thoughts, right? And I start analyzing things. Sometimes I've started these meditations with a specific focus in mind. I'm like, hey, I'm wondering about this thing or that thing. And that's how I was able to figure out all kinds of stuff about life, about myself. I don't have, I don't have any repressed feelings. I don't have any I'm not in denial about anything about myself. And it really comes down to just doing that, processing the feelings. And I know that, and processing the thoughts, both feelings and thoughts. And I know that for a lot of people, that's a very scary thing, especially if you have a lot of bottled up feelings, unprocessed thoughts, all these things. It can be overwhelming at first. And, it can get difficult because suddenly you realize, like the stuff that you've kept bottled down for so long, that every time that it keeps surfacing, you're just and then you're trying to think of something else, or you're okay, let's just start watching some video on TikTok, or something like that, just to change your mind, not think about it. Well, guess what, these thoughts won't go away, these feelings won't go away, they're just gonna get pushed down a little bit deeper. They're gonna come back at another point, and if it's not those specific thoughts, like if you're not gonna be thinking about that event that you really dislike, that's gonna pop these thoughts into being. Well, something else is gonna trigger those feelings. And then, you could be in an argument and suddenly you just almost explode out of rage or whatever. And the other person's gonna be like, wait, what the hell just happened? And the thing is, it's your unprocessed feelings that actually popped. So it's like wrong, wrong targeted anger. Definitely, I've known a lot of people who does that, who, they're in a bad mood, so they're gonna take it out on you, but it has nothing to do with you. It's them that can't deal with their own bullshit. So, yeah, like, yes, it can be scary, can be difficult. Like, I'm, you know, I'm in a good state. For me, it's easy. But I recognize that it's not easy for everyone. And the biggest thing about that is, well, if it makes you cry, then cry. That's the biggest thing. People are afraid of crying. People are afraid of their own feelings. Don't be afraid. It's gonna be difficult for one day. And then you're gonna have a good cry. And like sometimes I actually have moments when I have like lately it's been very stressful in my life. And there are moments when, you know, like I don't necessarily process all these feelings on a daily basis. Sometimes I'm like just trying to push through, which is not always the healthiest thing to do. But depending on timing and all that, yeah, it can happen that I just have to push through. And then I have a moment when, you know, like if you have like really long-term unprocessed feelings, it leads to depression. No matter if it's positive, negative, what kind of feeling, what's the cause, you know, anxiety. Anxiety is a big example. Anxiety comes from unprocessed feelings. That's a really big one. And then, you know, like I have a moment when once in a while, I do have these moments when I'm just angry and I'm thinking to myself and I'm talking to myself out loud, like not loud out loud, but you know, out loud. And I get like really angry and then I start crying because I'm pissed off about my situation that I can't necessarily change. But then I cry and I let it happen. That's one thing. Don't try to stop it. Just let it happen. Take a moment. Take a half an hour if you have to. You know, take a break to drink some water. Maybe eat some food. And then after that, I'm like, wow, I really needed that. And feeling better after that. I'm like, okay, well, now I can, you know, now I'm reset. I'm more centered. I can actually get to work and try to fix what's going on. You know, like in my case, in my particular case right now, it's a situation where I know for a fact it's still gonna take like probably multiple years to fix that specific problem. I'm not gonna go into that. It's a long-term thing essentially. So getting to work on fixing that is not going to yield any immediate results. So, but I can still slowly work at it. And I can process the feelings so that I don't get overwhelmed, so that I can keep going. That's one thing, you know. You can still, even if you're in a terrible situation, you can still accept the situation for what it is. Find a way to, you know, like not be like, oh yeah, it's fine, but rather I'll be able to get through it. Even if it takes a long time, multiple years, I can still get through it. And yeah, like hiding away from your feelings will prevent that from happening and will create, like, you know, you can try to be as tough as possible, create as hard of a shell as you can around yourself, around your feelings. It's still gonna get to you, because if you have to create yourself a, you know, if you have to shut down, create a shell, then you've already been hit by it. You don't preemptively create a shell. First you get hurt, then you create the shell. The hurt is still there inside the shell. So yeah, take a moment of silence. Take a moment of, well, music is fine. As long as it's, sort of more like in the background, I guess. But like, yeah, like take a moment of nothing, of being not enough stimulated mentally so that you can actually start the process. I'm gonna finish my dishes now.